Good afternoon once again. We're greeting you at the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center. And today we have a press conference for the primary and the backup crew for expeditions 31-32 to the ISS. For the flight program, the launch is scheduled on May 15th, and this will be Soyuz TMA-04M. Let me introduce the primary crew that will be launching then. The commander of the transport vehicle, the commander of ISS-32 and the flight engineer of ISS-31, Gennady Padalka, Roscosmos engineer, cosmonaut. Sergei Revin, who is going to be the flight engineer on both the Soyuz vehicle and the ISS, and a NASA astronaut, Joseph Akabar, who is a flight engineer on the Soyuz vehicle, and the flight engineer on the ISS. And the backup crew, the Soyuz vehicle commander and the flight engineer of the ISS, Oleg Novitsky, the flight engineer of both the ISS and the Soyuz vehicle, Evgeny Tyrelkin, and flight engineer 2 of the Soyuz vehicle, and the flight engineer of the ISS, Kevin Ford. And the lead for the Gagarin Cosmonaut Training Center, Sergei Krikalev, is taking part in our press conference. So please go ahead with your questions and tell at once who you're asking this question. This is the ITAR-TASS news agency. First of all, I'd like to congratulate everybody on the exams, on the upcoming flight, and I have a question to the primary crew. The first question is, what talisman, what token you're going to have, because we've had a crew who didn't take anything with them on board the station. And a question to all the other crew members, what items are you going to take with you? And one more question for Joseph and for Sergei, since that's their first flight on the ISS. What do you expect from this flight? What plans you have? What are your expectations? Thank you very much for a question. It's a good question. And I think I'm going to pass the floor to Joe because he was the one who chose the talisman. As regards items we are going to take with us, and now we're in the electronics age, so I'm going to take an iPod and an iPad. You have music, you have films, you have everything on them. So it's very useful. So Joe, maybe you're going to talk about the talisman.
Yeah, Gennady's been very gracious and offered us new flyers the opportunity to fly the talisman. And so I've selected Smokey the Bear, who is a character in the United States that's been around since the 1940s, that makes people aware of human-caused fires and how important the natural environment is.
And I supported Joe in this decision because I've been busy with environmental things since 1994. As regards my personal items that I'm going to take with me, during our expedition, we're going to celebrate at least 3 birthdays. The first birthday will occur on the docking day, and this will be Joe's birthday on May 17th. And then we'll have 2 birthdays, Gennady's on June 21st, and for Oleg Kononenko on the very same day. So I'm taking small presents with me. And I hope to make a pleasant surprise for them. I hope they'll find these presents useful during their flight. And also hope that these presents of mine will lift their spirits a bit. But other than that, since it's my first flight, I know that my comrades take small souvenirs with them, and I'm taking a small kangaroo. And we all know that kangaroos, they hop, they jump, they leap forward. So this is kind of a leap forward for me. That was my association connected with this flight. Wait a second, I didn't really quite answer the other part of the question. Okay, I'm going to say a few things about the flight. So despite the fact this flight has been cut down, it used to be 160 days, now it's down to 120. Our experiment program is very intensive. We're planning an extravehicular activity, a spacewalk in order to extend further the Russian segment, in order to for us to receive an upcoming Russian module in some time in the future. Also, an experiment with a small satellite, predicting its launch and its descent. And this all connected with the problem of space debris. And we also have lots of vehicle traffic. Russian vehicles, the European ATV vehicle that we're going to send to the ground, and the Japanese vehicle, HTV, also expecting to receive it at the station. So the commander responded for everybody. Russian Cosmos, I have a question for Sergei. This is your first flight, and I'm wondering what your expectations are, and what experiments you're interested in, and what experiments, such as physics experiment, did you prepare for this flight? And then one more question for the backup crew. It's what you think about your upcoming backup role. As regards experiments, actually, by education, I'm a physicist. So my program is quite extensive, and it deals not only with physics but also with the space industry, and the space area is very huge. So I chose an experiment which is education related, and it will be called Lessons from Space. And it's an experiment oriented on education for 5 to 7 graders. And we already have a scenario, we have a methodology, and we also have people who will be dealing with ecology. Joe and Gennady, they have lots of ecological experiment, and I'm trying to be up to par. So our lessons will have that ecological constituent as well. And these lessons will be aimed at showing how our planet, how interesting it is, and that it should be well protected, of showing and demonstrating all this to the kids. And actually, I did teach at school, and I tried this methodology, and I can provide more detail probably later. As regards our crew, the word is Kazbek. It's the highest mountain in the Caucasus Mountains, and it's the altitude. It seems unattainable. So this is something which makes sense when you think about space flights. Thank you. I have a question for Gennady. How did the exams go? And the second, what does it look like to be in space? Because it's really hard. Even though you're with colleagues, you are still in a closed-up environment, and how difficult this is from the psychological standpoint. The exams went rather well.
следующий экипаж без проблем.
Both the backup and the primary crew passed the exams.
Когда нам задают вопрос, что самое тяжелое в космосе, конечно, не какие-то технические детали, это как раз вопрос психологический.
And what is the most difficult thing when up in space? It's probably not the technological part of it, it's probably the psychological part. So it's very important to have a good crew, and lots of things depend on the commander.
Коллектив довольно многонациональный.
And fortunately, we have a very good international crew, both Russians and Americans. We also used to have people from other partners, such as Canadian, we had Europeans. So this is very important, and it's also very important to work around all the issues and work on the problems which may occur. And to make sure that no psychological things take a negative effect on our job. Also, I have a question. What do you think about the transfer from a 3-member crew to a 6-member crew? Well, it's becoming more and more interesting. And it's very practical too, because the station is so big that you really need 6 crew members to support and to maintain the station. And we do get a 3-member crew when one of the crews depart, and we have only 3 members left on board the station.
Да не, я как раз хотел дополнить, но Гена обо всем сказал.
And I wanted to add a few words, but I think that Gennady told about everything. As regards difficulties
Психологическими аспектами.
during flight, yes, there may be certain psychological problems, but we know that all people here present here are motivated to make the space flight a success, and this determines lots of facts and also successful outcome of the mission.
Stephanie Stoll for
Thank you.
TV for Joe Acaba. It's been 3 years since your last visit to the space station as a crew member aboard STS-119 on Shuttle Discovery. What are you looking forward to most on this mission as a long-duration crew member?
Yeah, like most of us that have the opportunity to fly on the shuttle, the missions are usually about 2 weeks, and our time docked to the station was very short, maybe 7 days. So I think we all look forward to returning, and instead of just visiting the space station, actually having the time to live and work there. When we were there last time, we needed help where to find things. It was just like when you go to visit somebody. So now it'll be our home, and looking forward to spending a lot of time up there, participating in all the experiments. We've got a lot going on. It could be very historic with SpaceX going up while we're there. So I think we're going to see a lot of great things, and looking forward to that little bit longer experience. Yeah, my kids will they'll all be in the United States when we have our launch in Baikonur, but they had the opportunity to see me launch in Florida, and so I think it was more of a shock that first time around. But the one thing, I'd like to thank them and my whole family, because we get this opportunity to go into space, and for us it seems we've trained so much for it that we're ready to go. But really for the families, it's much more stressful, and they have to watch us do this launch. So just want to thank them, realizing how stressful and how much they're worrying for us. So thanks.
Ну, что касается, мечтали ли мы,
Well, as regards whether
конечно, космонавты,
Gennady and I dreamed to fly together. Yes, Gennady is a very experienced crew member, so yes, probably I did dream about this. And I think this would be the same thing for all of our crew.
на тренировках
We are already grateful for the fact that we had a chance to train together during our training and sims, and when Gennady is doing things, we all try to follow in his steps and to do just the way he did it.
у нас намечен старт на октябрь.
When is your launch? It's in October 15th. So we hope everything goes well.
Well, indeed, I have actually flown with Gennady Padalka in space, because I flew an STS-128 in September of 2009, and Gennady was the commander of the International Space Station when I visited there.
This is Cosmonautics News. I have a question to US astronauts, to Ford and Acaba. What do you think about the Russian Soyuz vehicle? What do you make of it?
It's quite an honor to be part of this program, and Kevin and I were talking about this before, how lucky we are to be able to come out here, train with the cosmonauts, our training team, and to learn a new spacecraft like the Soyuz. It has a great history of being reliable. I'm really looking forward to, of course, working with my crewmates. I'm still learning a lot. Of course, the landing will be a little bit different than we're used to on the shuttle, but I think we're mentally prepared for that.
For me, of course, the Soyuz has always been our lifeboat, if you will, on the space station. So we've always had full confidence and faith in the outstanding hardware that the Soyuz is. When I flew on the space shuttle before, I flew in the front right seat. It's the exact same seat I have in the Soyuz. Though my duties are a little bit different on this flight, it's great to see Oleg and Yevgeny operate the Soyuz in such a professional fashion. I would say, you know, the way we feel in the U.S., without the space shuttle, of course, there would be no space station because of the very important role it played in construction. But, of course, the same thing is true about the Soyuz because of the critical role it plays in the crews living and staying aboard and being transported back and forth. Just a very good international, friendly arrangement to operate this great international space station.
Thank you. Additions, please. There was something about the new vehicle.
Корабль появится уже сейчас, потому что буквально в ближайшее время стартует
We'll have a new vehicle.
капсула, которая, если все будет нормально, будет стыковаться со станцией.
We're going to launch a new capsule, and if everything goes well, it will be docked into the station.
О котором здесь уже несколько раз говорили.
You mentioned SpaceX today, and this is already being planned. It's currently on. Thank you, Sergey. More questions, please.
Если больше ни у кого нет, то я позволю еще задать свой вопрос. Геннадий, Иван.
If there are no questions, I'd like to ask one of mine to Gennady.
Отвечала. И еще один небольшой вопрос к нашим американским коллегам Джо и...
And I have one more question for our US colleagues. What do you think about the differences and the similarities between the training systems in Russia and the US? How does it differ from yours?
Лена, эксперимент со Спутником в целом нам
Lena, what did you say? I didn't quite hear. Was it the Sputnik experiment?
будет выведен во
Yes, it's a very small experiment, and we're going to
будут отслеживать и моделировать
introduce a new satellite into orbit, and they're going to monitor it from the ground. So it's as simple as that. It isn't really a big deal.
Вообще сама программа очень обширна.
But other than that, the program is very, very extensive.
Мы будем проводить и эксперименты, связанные с перспективными космическими
And we're also going to conduct experiments with perspective and future technologies such as the Kolonovsky crystal experiment,
для того, чтобы
which is helpful in creating a plasma engine for the future.
Но если вас интересуют какие-то детали, я могу ответить на них.
And if you're interested in details, you can ask further.
Подождите секундочку, у нас еще есть вопрос к американцам.
Hannah will also have a question for US astronauts.
Just like
Joe,
flying
please.
on Soyuz, it's really an honor to be training here with a great history, to be part of this program. And you know, I'm very, very impressed with the instructors that are here. They're wonderful. Their expertise is incredible. And what's been really nice is that, you know, coming from the United States, of course, the cultures are different, the language is difficult, and everyone here has been very, very patient with us and making sure that we're going to be ready for our flight. And what's great is that now I can call a lot of the people that work here not only colleagues but good friends. So it's been an honor to be out here. And I guess the difference with the training between the United States and being here is when you're at home, you have other duties that pull you away from the training. And here, when we're in Russia, our sole focus is the training. And so it's really nice to be able to focus on that while we're in Russia.
I agree completely with Joe, and I I'd just like to add also that spacecraft are just incredibly complicated machines. And as a crew asking questions, we never reach the bottom of their depth of knowledge. They always know the answers. And in the USA versus here, like Joe said, here we really concentrate, but it's made a bit more difficult, of course, because most of it's presented in the Russian language. But certainly a privilege and an honor to be here and spend time at GCTC and with the Russian spacecraft.
Еще второй вопрос, сразу уже к основному экипажу, космонавтам. А какие эксперименты научные наиболее...
A question to the primary crew. What scientific experiments are of most interest to you? I'd say these are ecological experiments because I also deal with ecology. We have a number of experiments and have been modified, and this is not simply monitoring the Earth's surface, but also monitoring spectral areas and also medical experiments to monitor what's going on with my body, how it changes in space. Also experiments with future space technologies that I've mentioned already. Things like this. I, for one, would say that I'm interested in those activities which require creative approach. Well, we all know that all our activities on board are highly structured. Experiment starts, experiment ends, or the experiment is going on. And I'm interested in such types of work where I can utilize my creative abilities. I'm also interested in watching the Earth from space. And one more area of our activity, let me explain. Piloted flights do influence views that people have on space and on human space flights on the ground. And I'm interested in, you may call them educational projects, which are supported by Roscosmos. As I said, lessons from space and learning about the station systems and the ground Earth's ecological systems.
Forward to participating in a lot of the medical experiments that we have going on right now on the space station. We're looking at all parts of the body to see how the human body behaves in space and how we can do things for longer periods of time. Even though we've been going to space for over 50 years, there's still a lot we don't know about how the human body reacts in space. And if we do want to get beyond the space station and go further out, there's still things that we need to learn. So it's great to be part of that and knowing that we're contributing to that part of the space program.
You have been in space 3 times, so do you expect to experience or find anything new this 4th time? And what does attract you so much that you want to go back 4th time?
Ну, привлекает прежде всего, наверное, моя работа.
What I'm attracted by, first of all, is my work.
Я собираюсь и ожидаю увидеть нового. Ну, во-первых, станция увеличена.
And the station is much bigger. We have new Russian modules, 2 new Russian modules. We have new modules on the west segment. I'm also interested to take a look at the new commercial vehicle. I'm also interested in the scientific area and the experiments, as I already said. But what will be the most attractive part? I think it's no secret that actually the flight to the station, the flight back from the station. So it's exciting and interesting.
Когда приходил один из ваших коллег, вопрос к экипажу, рассказывал, что можно заказать себе меню какое-то специальное.
One of your colleagues mentioned once that you could choose a menu.
Там, не знаю, что на завтрак.
Say, what I want for breakfast.
Вы когда прилетите
Gennady, you are going to be a guest at our program when you come back.
Продукт питания очень широк, и сейчас мы можем
The variety of meals that we have is really wide,
в магазине.
and there are a few items that you can get at a grocery store, at an ordinary grocery store.
Халва.
So there are items that I do love.
Есть, но ее невозможно не желать.
I love ice cream, but ice cream in space is not quite the ice cream.
Половина часа ежедневно изнурительно.
Do you gain weight? No, not really, because we have 2.5 hours of physical activities planned for each day. What about your colleagues?
В условиях Земли у меня пока еще нет опыта космических полетов, поэтому
I don't really have spaceflight experience
ощущения, которые
given the conditions on our planet, on Earth.
традиционные.
So I have to
Единственное,
say what I like here on the ground.
наши партнеры, у нас
And I do like traditional Russian meals.
французская кухня,
I like seafood, I like Japanese food.
и полезная, и важная.
I like seafood. I think it's
А так, конечно,
both healthy
у меня
and delicious.
нравится Подмосковье, и лесные ягоды, и
I also like berries,
в банках
forest berries,
в стеклянной тарине нельзя брать, или домашние, в частности.
ones that you can get in glass jars. Unfortunately, I can't take glass jars with you to the station,
Я взял,
but
надеюсь,
I have some containers with me, and I also like berry jams, and I do hope that my taste won't change when I'm up there.
Да, мы поделимся. Джо, наверное, он ни разу не ел черники.
And Joe probably have never had certain of those berries. What about Joe?
On the U.S. side, we have a standard 19-day menu, and over a 4-month period, that can get maybe a little bit boring, so we are allowed to have a few bonus containers that are sent up. And these guys have really tempted me with the Russian food, so I've asked for a little bit of extra food, Russian food, so that I don't need to take all of theirs.
Я, может быть, хочу добавить чуть-чуть, что вы спросили, что экипаж выбирает себе отдельно, как
You asked what crew members choose for themselves as separate meals. And I'd like to say that it's possible to modify the standard menu, the menu that you already have. You can choose somewhat more of this and somewhat less of that.
четырехдневный цикл, потому что
And when I flew, we had a menu that's repeated every 5th day
6 дней
and then every 7th day. And there are certain items that repeat
используешь.
probably each day or nearly each day. And now, since we have this wide international cooperation program, we can choose certain meals from the menus of our international partners.
Поскольку летали вместе,
When I flew, we had certain French meals because we flew with a Frenchman.
пища вот
And now the geography of astronauts that take part in our flights is so wide that we have meals and they do not repeat themselves until the 17th or 20th day. So now the official part, taking pictures. Come on.
И руки пожмите друг другу там.
And please join your hands.
Всем спасибо за интересный вопрос. Спасибо.
Thank you very much.
День 12 апреля, день рождения. 12 января, правильно я говорила.
What is a birthday?
Да, 12-го.
In January? No, the 12th.
Это все не просто так. Ну,
That's not a mere coincidence. But
12-го.
using the old Gregorian calendar, it was December.
Геннадий Иванович, 3 стула, 3 стула. Что мне делать? Ручку мне.
Ручка.
So I need a pen.
Я готов.
The pen is here. I'm ready.
Экипаж должен сидеть.
Сделала шпаргалочкой.
Так что я пишу?
The crew need to be seated.
3 стула.
Сейчас.
I have 3 chairs.
Вот на этой стороне.
So where am I supposed to write something? Right here, on the left.
Вот,
Please, a nice story.
Олег, поближе возьми его.
Лена.
Отлично.
Что делаем сюда?
Все готово.
Давай, улыбаемся, Александр.
Отлично. Леди, мы на одной линии работаем.
Повежливее, Александр, повежливее. Понял? Все, давайте.
На меня, пожалуйста, смотри.
Так, всех девушек берем.
Да. Теперь все, да? Так, ну что дальше? Какой дорогой? Сюда, да? Да. Да, туда. Чуть постой, потом повернем. Да, через
Таник, можно ли? А у кайф?
Ой, говорит. Да. Не знаю,
Медленнее, предлагаем медленнее. Стоим, отдаем честь.
А чуть-чуть так здесь, Дарья, чуть-чуть
Все вместе, все вместе.
Становись, становись.
Нет, с вами стена будет ставить.
Ветер. Это не
На
дождь,
меня,
а
пожалуйста, посмотрите.
Майкл,